Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? What is good? The king of lightning here today, bringing you guys and gals One Piece. Whoa. Today should do One Piece chapter 871 and 872 review. First and foremost, there'll be two links in the box below to the live reactions to these chapters. If you haven't seen them yet, go check it out. That's number one. Number two, this video is brought to you by, that's right people, we are elevating, raising the bar, baby. This video is brought to you by One Piece Amino. Now, this app is available for you guys and gals on iOS and Android phones, and it's basically a place where One Piece fans congregate and talk about the latest and greatest when it comes to One Piece, when it comes to certain character reveals, when it comes to One Piece news, when it comes to the latest chapters. And I see in the bottom left-hand corner Sanji. Yeah, Sanji's ultimate battle. Jimbro, I like what I see, Jimbro. Okay, I like what I see. My man Sanji. So not only does the app have a feature section, but also has a public chat room section where you guys can talk about various things when it comes to certain character types, like One Piece girls, for example. But as you can see here, number one, no hentai or porn pics allowed. So for all you gentlemen that are into that, no mas. But that does not mean that you can't do a whole slew of things. For example, right here we see, which do you like better, pirates or marines? Me personally, Zehahaha, I'm a huge fan of pirates. So this app is pretty awesome, has many things going for it. So once again, on your phone, check out the One Piece Amino app. It is free to download. Give it a taste and see if it's for you. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let us take a dive into these two chapters, a double chapter review of One Piece Wa. Though these chapters are relatively simple and straightforward, so the video may not be as long as you think it should be. For One Piece chapter 871, this has the simplest chapter structure and pacing among these two chapters by far, because essentially it's just one part. Through and through, it is Luffy and allies trying to escape Big Mom and the Big Mom pirates, ultimately failing, and then seemingly all hope is lost until that giant explosion of the Thubnail box shift things back in their favor at the end of the chapter. And that is the entire thing for pacing. It is one part that is dragged out throughout the entirety of that chapter. Now from here, we'll jump over to the story portion of this chapter. And this has 6 parts to it. Number 1 for story is Stussy being revealed as a Cypher Pole Aegis Zero agent, intelligence operative, as she kills the field who was over the Thubnail box. Number 2 for story is Stussy talking to Big Bird. Big Bird, he was trying to spy what was going on, but ultimately Stussy, she sensed him, she saw him, and Big Bird is now on like Stussy's team because he doesn't want to die, obviously. However, during the process, the Thubnail box is then pushed down by the body of the field. We're not too sure if he's dead. A lot of times, dead means like gravely wounded, but somehow, some way, through like toon force and sheer willpower, they're able to survive. So the field, let's assume for now that he's dead, and his body pushes over the Thubnail box as it continues to fall, and then the box itself is completely taken off of the chateau, and it falls all the way to the ground. Number 3 is as the box is falling down, we shift over to what's going on with Luffy, Capone, Caesar Clown, and German 66. Sanji grabs Luffy so they can try and escape. But here we have Big Mom talking smack to Luffy. Very similar to what we got with Akainu and Ace way back when. Here's Luffy. He completely turns around to take on Big Mom. And he goes Gear 4, and him and Big Mom clash with Armament Haki fists. Now, we can also assume that with that came the clash of Conqueror's Haki. We don't really see that because there are no panels that we see where like the area starts to pulsate and then there's shocks and sparks of electricity. We don't see that, but we can assume that something of the sort happens because we do see a panel of some folks being blown back by the force and maybe some folks being knocked out. But nonetheless, Luffy and Big Mom do have this clash of fists. And afterwards, there is something that folks want me to talk about, but I think folks are overthinking it. I really do. After Big Mom and Luffy have their clash, Luffy, he starts to deflate and he goes back to base form. And we see Big Mom's Armament Haki hand. There's like some type of aura around it. Now in the scanlations, it had a very weird sound, like kind of like a buzzing sound. Some folks told me maybe in that instant, Big Mom took some of Luffy's years. To me, I kind of see where folks are going with that, but if that's gonna happen, Oda would be clear about it, because that's crucial. That's very crucial. And on top of that, when you look at the Viz translation, the official Viz translation, that side bubble that points points to Big Mom's hand that has the aura around it. It doesn't say like a buzz sound, but it says rattle. It just has the word rattle. So when I first read it, I thought that it was more so steam. Because the impact was so heavy, there was steam, heat emitting from Big Mom's hand. And I think that still applies. I don't think that Big Mom in that instant, with the same hand that she attacked Luffy with, was able to grab some of Luffy's ears or something of the sort. I don't see that happening. I really don't. If that's the case, then that's pretty crazy. I'm gonna stick with my guns here and say that that's just simply put steam. But in the future, if I'm proven wrong, then I'll notify you guys and gals about that. Now, number 4 for story is going to be Judge talking about the memory of his people that apparently spans 300 years ago. Kind of reminds you a little bit of the Shondians in the White Sea. It does. It honest to God does. Because their history was centuries old as well. So there may be something, not saying that there is, but there potentially could be something involving the people of the Vince Smoke, the people of German 66, and maybe the Void Century, possibly. But Big Mom just don't give a damn. And then Thunderbolt, it is not yet confirmed if Oda did that specifically for me, but Oda, like I said before, number 1, if you're watching, keep on watching, dog. Number 2, you may have made an error in judgment, Mr. Goda, because as far as I understand, Judge was never in my top anything. As far as I understand, Dragon was there, though honestly, at this point in time, I'm really doubting if Dragon should even be in the top 5, but we'll save that for another day. Oh, definitely, we will save that for another day. Number 5 for story is Caesar Clown almost escaping, but then he's cut off by Katakuri and Brûlé. Beforehand, you had Yonji and Niji leave their side to go and save their father. Ichiji did not leave their side, and he tried to stall Katakuri. That was an immediate defeat. And then segueing on to the final part of the story, we have number 6, which is essentially all hope is lost. Everyone seems to be pinned down by someone from the Big Mom Pirates. Caesar Clown and Capone can't escape Brûlé. And then boom, the Tamate Bako box reaches the ground. Huge explosion. And all of a sudden, momentum shifts back to their favor because the whole thing seems to be tumbling down. So that is it when it comes to the story progression of the chapter. Finally, we have the character portion of this chapter. And this has 5 parts to it. Stussy is a Cypher Pole Aegis Zero intelligence operative. She works for the world government. She works with Rob Lucci. Her roots are very deep since she is the queen of the Pleasure Quarter, so she has massive weight when it comes to the underworld. And on top of that, she appears to be very loyal because she killed one of her fellow kings of the underworld, Defeld. And then on top of that, the fabled Tamatebako box that has this amazing treasure in it that people have talked about for God knows how long, she was gonna bring that back to the world government. Not take it for herself, but bring it back to the world government. So we see her loyalty, and we know that she is, at this point in time, Cypher Pole Aegis Zero. That's number 1. Number 2, and this ties to number 3 of the story progression. Big Mom and Luffy clash, and Big Mom has enough physical strength to take on Gear 4 Luffy. I believe it was the Kong gun. I believe that's what Luffy used, not too sure. Luffy's Kong gun was completely countered by a base punch of Big Mom with Armament Haki. Her striking strength is on the same tier as the Kong gun when she used Armament Haki hardening on her fist. We're seeing more of Big Mom's strength and her Haki potency. That's very important. Number 3 for character, a sprinkle for Kaido. But that sprinkle is delicious. Oh my god. Big Mom refers to Kaido as a thing. Like, you, Monkey D. Luffy, will never be able to beat that thing, which only fortifies the notion that Kaido is something beyond human. He is some type of mega freak. I'm not gonna say it's for certain, but to me, it appears like Big Mom at that point in time is recognizing Kaido as a superior from a combat, from an ability standpoint, from a fighting standpoint. Kaido, he's just beyond the pale. He's a freak of freaks. But again, Big Mom herself, she's also in that category as well. Big Mom is a freak of freaks. But Kaido is like the freak of freaks. Like, he's just like, whoa, like he's, But Shanks is the freak of freaks, baby. That being said, we're not talking about Shanks here, we're talking about Kaido. So Kaido, once again, we get recognition from Big Mom that Kaido is just beyond the pale of not only Luffy, but potentially herself as well. You think that you can take on that thing? Like, whoa. That's what I get from that one sentence right there. But it's a sprinkle, but it's tasty. Oh yeah. Moving on to number 4 for the character part of this chapter and that is Judge. Judge talks about how he's embarrassed that he could even have thought of trusting Big Mom with the weight of his people. I think ultimately he wants to appease his ancestors, and he wants to wash away whatever embarrassment they suffered long ago. But in his mind, he has shamed his people by trusting someone like Big Mom. Finally, when it comes to character number 5 is Niji and Yonji, where those two, they actually deviate from the mission to go and save their dad. Ichiji stays the course, like he flat out stays the course. But Niji and Yonji deviate to go and save Judge. So for all the talk of them being heartless, no emotions, the fact that Niji and Yonji double back to go and save their dad, they have something there. They may not have that much emotions, period, because of the lineage factor manipulation. However, they did feel enough emotion to try and save their dad. Ichiji, different story. And that is it when it comes from a character standpoint. And when it comes to the chapter overall, I would say that the chapter rating is overall a good chapter of One Piece. The pacing in of itself is not that strong. It's overall okay. But when it comes to the story and the character portions of these chapters, they are good. Each of them has, I would say, 3 parts that have substance to them. When it comes to the story, it is the Stussy bit, it is the Judge bit, and then it is the Chateau falling because of the Tamatebako box. Most of those tie back to the character, where again you have Judge, and he talks about his shame and how he trusted Big Mom with this weight of his people. Then we go to Stussy again, because Stussy, she is Cypher Pole. You have Big Mom and Luffy clash. What Luffy did to Flamingo, Big Mom could potentially do the same thing. And who's to say this is the max of her physical strength? That being said, the chapter rating is going to be a good. And now let's move on to chapter 872. So like the previous chapter, let us start off with the pacing and the chapter structure of this chapter, One Piece. Number 1, 1 page of just a flashback with Fishman Island and King Neptune talking to Luffy about the box itself and how it has bombs in it. Well, I gave it to Big Mom. That's number 1. Number 2, the main meat of the chapter, which is the Chateau falling as a result of the box exploding, and it is falling on Sweet City. And everyone is panicking, they're reacting to it. When it comes to the Allied forces, thumbs up. When it comes to Big Mom and the Big Mom pirates, thumbs down, massive thumbs down, and then things play out. Number 3 is afterwards. You have the Allied forces, they have reached a safe area, and now they're talking about what they're gonna do next. They still have ways to go when it comes to escaping overall, and then they separate ways. And then number 4, we go back over to the Big Mom pirates. They're going to prepare units to chase down the Fire Tank pirates and the Straw Hat pirates, but Big Mom seems to be thinking about other things. So that is it when it comes from a pacing standpoint, 4 parts to this chapter. Now, let's talk about the story. Number 1, the whole cake Chateau falling down on Sweet City. And this creates a lot of chaos. And in that chaos, it gives Capone and company a chance to escape because the Big Mom pirates and Big Mom have too many things to worry about at this point in time. Number 2 for story is Streusen saving practically everybody. He saves Sweet City. He saves the Big Mom pirates by using his ability. He saves them all. Number 3, Luffy and company have completed the first part of their escape, which is important for the overall arc, because in the overall arc, the first major escape was escaping the castle with Sanji and company. But the main escape starts now because they're still in the archipelago of Totland. Now, number 4, really quick, Caesar Clown got his heart back. That was a few arcs in the making. Number 5, the Allied forces split ways. Caesar Clown is going wherever. Capone is going wherever. And then finally, when it comes to story progression, the Big Mom pirates were going to establish some groups and chase down the Straw Hats and the Fire Tank pirates. But Big Mom has other plans, and that is wedding cake. Now, we saw what happened in Sweet City during her first rampage. We saw what happened in the past when it came to that village in Elbaf and how the giants suffered because of her rampage. And Big Mom is about to suffer probably one of the greatest rampages of all time, because at this point in time, there is no wedding cake available. Now that Big Mom is in like berserk mode, they have to focus on their escape more so than hunting down the Straw Hat pirates and the Fire Tank pirates. However, even though there are options like escape, evacuate the whole area, wait until she tires out or something, or have Struce and company make her a whole new cake and so on and so forth. There is the possibility that pudding plays a role in this. And I forgot about this, but someone did send me a Twitter message about this. They didn't tell me up front like what exactly was the deal here. They just said, yo King, keep in mind here that pudding's ability can play a major role in stopping Big Mom. Oh yeah, hold on. She can alter memory. Now, I don't know how she's gonna get even close to Big Mom. In all honesty, it's gonna be a team effort here. Where Lady Smoothie, Daifuku, Oven, like they all have to just pin down Big Mom. Katakuri is your main dude for that. If they can get Pudding close to her, Pudding can alter her memory to where she did eat the wedding cake and she found it to be very delicious. She could do that. So in a sense, she's like putting fake taste in Big Mom's mind. I don't see Oda removing the entire wedding incident from Big Mom's mind, because then they have to explain to Big Mom what went down, and then Big Mom may still get pissed anyway, because there's no way that they're not gonna tell Big Mom that they had the wedding, unless Pudding removes like a huge chunk of her memory to where she forgets about Germa, about the Straw Hats, about all that kind of stuff, which I don't see being the case. So the best thing here is if she inserts fake memory of the wedding cake being consumed by Big Mom in a Big Mom's mind. If Pudding does play a role in stopping Big Mom, it's gonna be by adding fake memory, not by removing actual memory. That's my take on that. So that is it for the story part of the chapter, and now let's talk about the character part of the chapter. Number 1, Stussy can use Geppo. What? Stussy can use Geppo. Now, some folks, I believe, in the YouTube comment section of my last live reaction were saying that, well, maybe she couldn't react in time. Maybe. But the fact of the matter is that she knows Geppo. That's number 1. Number 2, Streusen using an ability in the Viz translation called Gourmet Metamorphosis. Tell me the sword. Yeah, Gourmet Metamorphosis. In the scanlations, it's some German word gourmet. In the Viz translations, it's Gourmet Metamorphosis. He uses his power to change the entire chateau of Whole Cake Island. He changed that in an instant to sponge cake and whipped cream. So in a fight, he can alter objects, mountain-sized objects, very quickly to whatever he wants it to be. Streusen's power is very nifty and very potent. That's key right there. When it comes to character, we're seeing the potency of his ability. And then finally for character, the last part is Big Mom talks about how Streusen, whatever he creates with his ability, it can fill you up because it's food, but it doesn't taste very good. So that is it when it comes to chapter One Piece. That's it, we're done. Character, weaker than the previous chapter, I would say. Streusen is the one that gets most of the characterization in this chapter, clearly. When it comes to story, you do have major things happening, and you're setting up a major thing as well in the future. So you're setting up a Big Mom rampage. They have Luffy and the allied forces dispersed because they're done. They have completed the first major hurdle of their escape. And on top of that, the whole Cake Chateau itself has finally crumbled down. Story is the strongest part of this chapter by a mile. And then you have the pacing, which is stronger than the previous chapter. Then you have the pace of the chapter, which compared to the previous chapter is stronger, but only by a bit, really, because the first part of the pacing and the last part of the pacing are like 1 page a pop, and the major parts of pacing just come down to, once again, the chateau falling, and then afterwards, where you have the allied forces, they meet for a few minutes and then they disperse. So pacing has essentially like 2 major parts and 2 minor parts, and that's why it's a bit better than the previous chapter. So overall, compared to the previous chapter, this chapter is stronger in story, not in character, and it's a bit stronger in pacing. So overall, I'm gonna say it's an okay plus chapter of One Piece. So that's it. I'm gonna see you guys and gals later. Be sure to rate the video. It is not that hard to do, I guarantee you that, because you all should have a device at your disposal called Zmouse. There will be Zmouse t-shirts available in the future, I guarantee you that. Be sure to click using Zmouse on the subscribe button. Of course, you click on that bell to join the squad. Click to rate the video, like or dislike, do whatever you want to do. And of course, comment in the comment section down below. Peace, and have a nice goddamn day.